Today's watch has a very weird dial. I call it the Eye of Sauron because it looks like a fireball on your wrist. This is the orange version. They're making other colors. It gets a very distinctive pattern and texture on the dial that sort of looks like Sauron's eye. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, you may not be a fan of Lord of the Rings. It looks like a fireball on your wrist. It's the best way that I could describe it. These dials are very interesting, and this brand in general, Aerotech, make very distinctive looking watches. And when you see one on someone's wrist, if you know Aerotech, you're going to know that they're wearing an Aerotech. So without further ado, let's take a look at a watch that costs under $300 in titanium with a very textured dial. It's also a dive watch with 200 meters of water resistance, the new Atlantic Diver from Aerotech. So here it is. This is an Aerotech and it looks like an Aerotech. They're putting a lot of detail into the dial. It has a very deep texture on it, and they're also using some wild colors. This is a silver metallic orange. It gets a lot of lume, so that lume that is on the outer portion of the dial, which is like a minute track, that is very liberally applied with lume. Broad arrow hands, those are filled with lume. And then of course the second hand also filled with lume. So lots of lume going into this dial. You're getting a little bit of lume in the bezel. The bezel is made out of titanium. The entire watch is made out of titanium. So you're getting a titanium bezel, which is a solid piece with that lumed pip or triangle at the 12 o'clock. And then of course the case is titanium, the crown and the case back. Also the buckle on the watch is also titanium. You get really good bezel action, even though this is titanium, usually not always the best bezel action. This is getting very good bezel action. Let's listen really quickly. Really solid bezel action. Everything lines up really nicely. It feels really good as well. It's not too tight. It's not too loose. I like it. And usually for a titanium watch, bezel action is always sometimes questionable. This also gets a double domed sapphire crystal with AR coating. You're getting lots of lume. You're getting AR coating. And this costs $299 right now on their Kickstarter. By the way, that Kickstarter has already funded. It's already funded a few times over. Aerotech, obviously a very reliable brand. You could definitely count on them. However, that $299, it does not come with a bracelet. So if you do want a bracelet, that's an extra $55. So definitely keep that in mind. If you want a bracelet, it is a titanium bracelet. However, I don't have that to show you, but if you do want one, it's $55 extra. If you want it on this gray rubber strap, it's $299, and you do get a typical case back from Aerotech. They do this with all of their watches because they're using a Miyota movement inside. It's a 9015. It's a very nice movement, but it's not, the best looking movement in the world. I think they're actually pretty good looking. But what they do is when they use different movements, it doesn't matter what they are, they always give you a display case back, but it's very, very small. So you could see the movement a little bit, see that it's working, see that it's moving. However, you do get that helmet on the back, and it is inspired by a porthole, nautical inspiration, because this is a dive watch, and they primarily make dive watches. They make primarily tool watches that look crazy. This is a very bright tool watch, and you really have to like the look of their watches. They are very distinct. You will know immediately that you're looking at Aerotech because of their dials and their general design. The watch measures in at 39.9 millimeters is what I measured with my calipers. It's around 12 millimeters thick, just under 12 millimeters thick. That's pretty good because this is getting 200 meters of water resistance. And then you have a lug to lug of around 45.8 millimeters. The crown on the smaller side, I would have liked to see a slightly larger crown, but it's a really nice crown. It's a very interesting shape. And of course it is very deeply signed. So it's a beautiful crown. Maybe if it was just a little bit bigger, it would be a little bit easier to use and it would look aesthetically different. I think it would look a little bit better. It's a 5.8 millimeter crown. It's definitely functional and I think it looks good. Maybe a bigger crown would have looked better. I don't know. On my wrist today, I have a very interesting watch from Citizen. This is an ultra thin Eco Drive. It is literally the thinnest watch that I've ever featured on my channel, I think. This is probably one of the thinnest watches that I've ever held. It is extremely thin and very affordable. I'll be doing a video about this watch very, very soon, so definitely stay tuned. And there is the Aerotech on my 7.5-inch wrist. Like I was saying before, this is basically a 40mm watch with around 45.5mm lug to lug and just under 12mm thickness. That's including the domed sapphire crystal. It wears really nice on my 7.5-inch wrist, and it is very, very comfortable. I'm not sure about the bracelet. I'm not sure if it's getting male or female end links. I couldn't find that information, but the fact that you can get a bracelet for this is great, and that it only costs $55 and it's in titanium, that is really excellent. So you're talking about a watch well under $400 on a titanium bracelet with a titanium case, a textured dial, and lots of lume. Let's check out that lume very quickly. Well, there you go, lume, really good on here. You have a lot of lume on that chapter ring. It's really like a minute track. It has a lot of lume there. The hands are outlined in lume. The second hand has lume, so you could see that the watch is working in the dark. And then there's just a little bit of lume in the bezel. It's just a solid piece of lume in that triangle. Looks really good, very bright. I love that they lume the logo, and of course they don't put anything else on these dials. They're a very heavy textured dial. It radiates from the center. It almost looks like the sun or something like that, and there is nothing else on the dial. It doesn't say automatic. They leave all of that off the dial. You already have what looks like a busy dial because of the texture, and they make the right decision to keep it clean. I wish more brands would do that. I really like this. I think it's a great looking watch, and it's very comfortable, very lightweight, automatic, and 200 meters of water resistance for $299 with a beautifully textured dial. Really cool. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of Aerotech and what they offer? And like I said before, they are very recognizable because of their designs. And I think that is a very good thing when it comes to watches, because that is kind of hard to do. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. I will put a link to this watch down in the description. Definitely check it out if you are interested. And that's really it, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for logging on. I will catch you guys in the next video.